Hi guys, and welcome back one more time. Once again, I should say. Today I'm going to be just touching up a little bit on an agency that hardly ever or actually never gets talked about down at a large port, for example, San Isidro, which used to go by the name of Department of Social Services uh, they have many different titles, but basically Department of Social Services and they kind of like blanket cover fraud, this actual department. And they had their own office down at the port. They had their own channel on the actual frequency, and they had actual social services uh, investigators actually on site. And when they weren't out, and I say patrolling because they would walk pedestrians, and they would just start approaching people and start asking them questions. And primarily, they would target pregnant women for the reason being, you can't be a non-UN citizen and receive benefits. You cannot be a US citizen and live in Mexico in another country and receive benefits. As narrow as that sounds, I mean, to a lot of people, it's not a big deal living in Mexico, living in TJ, and conducting business in San Diego, but you're still living in a different country and you are not able to collect benefits if you're a citizen or not, living in actual Mexico. And unfortunately, that would fall under also people who run away. Like if you run away as a young female and actually live in Mexico for a few years and then actually turn 18, you can actually cross over and receive benefits. But if you're living down south, you'll get denied and they'll take that away from you. But that was a big problem for then. Maybe before this whole people started calling, I guess, trafficking of actual runaways. They're basically well, it would be called sex trafficking, but in a different kind of different way because uh, a lot of not a lot, but it was not uncommon for a 16-year-old or 17-year-old to actually run away from home and actually hook up with an older or the same age boyfriend and move to Mexico, TJ, just in the TJ area, and they would start a life. They would start a life, a family and stuff, and the actual the female would cross the border, and after she's pregnant, she how do you call that? I forget the word they use, but if you become pregnant or once you give birth, I forget if you're a minor, you actually become an adult. Uh, in California, back in them days, in the 90s, I should say, you actually became emancipated, something like that, and so uh, you were no longer considered a minor. You would actually be considered an adult. And so when these guys would send their girlfriends over or their wives over to collect benefits, it'd be a good chunk of change, I mean, especially living in TJ, And so it got to the point where they actually had to set up an office down there just to actually try to manage it, try to control it, or try to actually divert the actual idea from actually being, I should say, being practiced, And that happened a lot actually. And you just can't really. We couldn't do anything. That would be the State Department. So uh, a female ran away. She initially ran away, but if a pimp got a hold of her, or a actual uh, we call it papadrote, or actually take control of them, then that's when it becomes the actual what is now known to be sex trafficking part. And like I said, there wasn't really a lot of resources for parents to actually cross that border and try to locate and try to actually try to recuperate, I should say, because they're going to try to take her back to your home, you have to cross international lines, you know. And there you go again. If she's over 14, so see if she doesn't want to go, if she's already emancipated, so it's a whole bunch of legal procedures, and you hope for the best. That's not even that's not even considering getting help from law enforcement in TJ. That's another thing too. I mean, you have to actually have somebody pay attention to your actual complaint and actually go and try to resolve that complaint, which is not going to be cheap. They're going to charge you no matter what. No matter how you look at it, they're going to charge you some money to actually stop what they're doing and to go actually find your child, you know, and that's the reality of it, you know. And once you do find it, you know, try to contest if there was any actual crimes done to your daughter. You know, I'll stop talking about it because I'll get frustrated. You know, what I mean, just because of the fact that it's very hard. It's very depressing just to think about what went on. You know, or what goes on, and that's the reality is your child ran away from home. Now she's in a worse situation, and you're trying to get her out of that worse situation with actually with none or little help as can be. You know, so let's go back to social services. So now they're actually conducting these investigations on there, they run your information and determine if you're getting benefits, and if it determines that you cannot actually provide an address for your actual application, the one you originally turned into the social services for welfare for Medi-Cal, you will actually be denied right there. You'll be denied, and citizen or not, you'll be denied, and you're on your own. Basically, that's how it works, and they were pretty busy. Let me tell you, they were actually pretty busy enough to have an office and a staff down there. So that's what's a big that's what they try to do as a deterrent from having this actual practice stopped, right? So now, when you're 7 months pregnant, trying to cross with, and you don't have any legal document papers, 7 months pregnant, you almost have no chance for the fact that immigration or customs can send you over, can call over that social services department and have your information ran. And if you determine that you have false papers, you if you try to cross with false papers, you will be taken in. You probably will be looking at a judge because you are providing somebody else's identity and providing false documents. So that's actual crime. So it's that would be even worse than hiding in a trunk in a vehicle for the fact that you're not actually providing false documents. You're not actually providing a false identity. So that's a big game changer there. Okay. So could you imagine being 7 months pregnant and trying to cross San Isidro to Altai with no luck, with multiple, and I am not talking about, okay, now it'd be on the Department for Immigrant, which doesn't exist anymore, for INS, Immigration Nationalization Services. So now you fall under their actual department. They're not going to want to take a 7 month old, 7 month pregnant female into an actual detention center and have her give birth to a what would be now a U.S. citizen. See, that's where you have to be. That's where the red tape starts. So you automatically just send that person down, walking down south. Don't even put her in your vehicle. Just send her down south. And once they send you down south, they just start yelling to people, agents along the line, going south, going south, going south, until they get to the actual line and they continue their south to Mexico, right? So that's what happened. I think about 5 times with this particular female, and she was very she needed to get to I think Chicago before she gave birth. That's where her actual husband was actually working on there. He had actually set everything up for her, had a home, had everything for her to give birth over there, and he was waiting on her, and they just had a hard time trying to get her across. And I'm telling you, these actual coyotes, the ones that are actually a pollero, the one that's actually in charge of the operation, he is gonna pull every and any stunt possible to actually get this pregnant female across, but for a higher price because they might be charging you for two now. You know what I mean? Uh, inside the belly or not. That's the way it is. So I'm gonna make this a part two. So this will be part one, and we're gonna go over to part two here real quick. Thanks.